Good morning, good afternoon, guys. I wanted to bring this to you. I just found this and I wanted to bring it to you guys' attention that Domestic Violence Month is real and it's like in full effect. Like last night on my scanner, I heard so many disturbing phone calls. It was like the cops didn't know which one to go. I mean, like, it was crazy. There was like 5 or 6 calls last night for domestic violence, and then I get up and I woke up kind of late today. I slept in, and I have a kink in my neck because my cat likes to sleep in my pillow, and then I don't have any room to sleep. Like, I'm going to kick my cat out of the bed tonight. That's for sure. He is not sleeping on my pillow. I got the worst kink, you guys. It hurts so bad. Okay, let's get over this. Let's go on to this. So, now, I'm wondering if the woman worked in Detroit and he kidnapped her and then took her to Toledo, okay? This is out of Detroit, Michigan. Let me put my glasses on. Thank God she's safe and she's okay, but she's going to have a lot of trauma.
He was not taking no for an answer. Take a look.
Dragged her over to his car, stuffed her in the back, then he handcuffed her. He had the child locks on, and then he put tape over her eyes.
He drove 60 miles south to his Toledo home where he raped his ex, holding her captive.
Oh my God.
You're talking about 18, 19 hours that we didn't know where she was.
Investigators say there were plenty of signs. Kevin Thompson II was a very violent man.
He had a little to-go bag. It had duct tape, 2 sets of handcuffs, brass knuckles, a taser.
Planned and plotted. He allegedly stalked his ex, waiting for her to get off work last weekend in downtown Detroit when he attacked.
He was attempting to get back in her life, and she made it clear she wanted nothing to do with him.
In June, Thompson allegedly roughed her up in public. That was the last straw, but for him it was not over. Detroit Police Assistant Chief Charles Fitzgerald lays out a timeline of violent harassment.
Got into her building, knocking on her door, running down to the steps and hiding. When she kind of came out, he went after her.
Then a day later last month, Thompson allegedly broke into her car, working his way into her trunk, crawling out while she was driving on the lot. She managed to escape. God. In a final act of desperation, investigators say he kidnapped and raped her, but had a different story for police.
His lead on was that he was just going to take her home once it was done, and I just don't buy that.
When she didn't show up for a CPL class the next day, last Saturday, Detroit police were called in, and then it was all in.
From the time we were notified to the time she's in custody, about 4.5 hours.
It didn't take long for them to zero in on Thompson and his Toledo home, where police there and the FBI assisted in the takedown. He was casually walking out of his house to get food when he was arrested. The victim, his ex, inside, rescued but emotionally scarred.
She is doing as well as she can be at this point. I mean, it's a horrible, horrible ordeal.
Thompson is being held on a big bond down in Ohio, $750,000. Now, DPD back here at home are working to tack on extra federal charges for kidnapping his ex and taking her over state lines. Jessica Dupnack on The Edge.
Those stunning comments caught on tape by a Houston woman who says she secretly recorded a doctor and staff during her surgery. Now, in these recordings, you hear remarks about her looks and her personality.
Listen carefully, because few ever hear this. Secret recordings a patient says she made from the operating room. Ethel Easter says she hid a recorder in her hair extensions before going under the knife for a hernia operation. Easter says the hospital workers made disparaging comments about her body.
I was appalled, I was distraught, I was violated, thinking that I'm lying there naked after the surgery, and they have me still uncovered talking over my body like this.
And listen to this.
Precious, yes. This is Precious over here, saying hi to Precious over there.
Was racially profiling me. Yes, I was offended by it.
Easter says she decided to secretly record her surgery after a tense meeting with the doctor. In a letter to Easter, the hospital, Harris Healthcare, says it has alerted staff to be mindful of comments at all times, but they say no further action is being taken.
That's bullshit.
This poor woman did everything she could to get away from the man she once called a boyfriend, but he was not taking no for an answer. Take a look.
I do not
Dragged
like
her over to
outfit.
his car, stuffed her in the back, then he handcuffed her. He had the child locks on, and then he put tape over her eyes.
He drove 60 miles south to his Toledo home where he raped his ex, holding her captive.
God, you
You're
guys.
talking about,
Can you imagine being
18, 19 hours
going through that?
we didn't know
What
where she
would you
was.
guys do?
Investigators say there were plenty of
Like, what? I don't know, like, what I would do. Scream, fight, go back to my, living to the fullest. Like, I think I would just do whatever I could to get out, Like, I think I would go into that adrenaline mode, and I mean, she tried. I mean, you can obviously see in the video, she did try.
plenty of signs.
Well, let's rewind it.
Where he
Go ahead.
raped his ex, holding her captive.
You're talking about, 18, 19 hours that we didn't know where she was.
Investigators say there were
can't
plenty
believe
of
that.
signs. Kevin Thompson II was
Look
a
at him.
very
He looks like he's an evil man. Evil man. Evil, evil, evil. Okay, let's see what else we got on here for news break. What is this? We can close that. Leaving kids at home alone. Family members facing murder charges. Wow. Of course, it's all about Diddy and... Ew. Yuck. Oh, boy's cute. Oh, let's go to this. State of emergency.
Tonight, Ohio Governor Mike DeWine issuing a state of emergency for Lawrence, Jackson, Scioto, and Pike counties in Ohio after last Friday's devastating storms.
Wow.
The governor says in a statement that this declaration of a state of emergency will give the state the ability to expedite assistance to these communities.
good.
He says we will continue to monitor needs and help those in the southern Ohio area recover from the damage and remove large amounts of debris from the recent storm event. WSEZ's Ariana Mintz checked on neighbors cleaning up, looking for additional help in Scioto County.
They came up to where? Up in here. That's how much the basement was under. You see the line all the way down through there.
The Scioto County Emergency Management says
Of course, I just paid my internet payment. I let my cable go.
Janet Cook's home meets the criteria for major damage. As we uncover and get a tour of the damage left behind from Helene. Jeff Wooten is friends with Cook and says he's been getting some of his friends to help shovel dirt out of her basement after part of her wall fell in.
Foundation on the back of the house is pretty much gone. The water got so deep in there.
Footage showing how hard parts of Scioto got hit.
Summit Street is underwater, bro.
And now the county looking to take next steps. Emergency management says they're looking for 25 homes that meets the Ohio Emergency Management Agency criteria for major damage or destroyed to help try to get some state money. They say major damage means major significant repairable structural damage, like Cook's home here.
So far, we have identified 5.
For destroyed, they say irreparable structural damage that is uninhabitable. We spoke
State of emergency declared.
With Dustin Stover the other day about the cracked foundation in his home. And emergency management says his home meets major damage criteria too.
I try not to even get near that wall because I don't know if it'll move.
Yeah.
So I try to I get breaks up pretty easy, but it's just time consuming.
Those in the community looking to get financial help soon to start rebuilding what they've lost. Ariana Mintz, WSAZ, Scioto County.
Now, what they found was the state of Ohio does not have enough damage to have FEMA come in and help out. But if you would like more information on how to get in touch with Scioto County Emergency Management, go to WSAZ.com to find out about other sources of help.
Overwhelmed with sorrow, the father stood in the courtroom, facing the individuals responsible for his daughter Anaya's death.
I remember
his heartache was palpable as he shouted out loud. He detailed the repeated abuse his daughter suffered at her mother's hands. He had fought tirelessly for custody, hoping to bring her back to a loving home. But fate was cruel, and she ultimately succumbed to her mother's boyfriend's abuse. He couldn't bear to remember the pain Anaya endured. The girl, always beaming with smiles and brimming with life, was gone forever. In court, confronting his ex-wife Sierra Day and her indifferent boyfriend, Garrett was moved to tears. He was convinced that Sierra Day caused his daughter's death.
Yes.
Anaya had confided in him. Mommy hits me, yet he saw no remorse in their expressions for taking his daughter's life. Have you ever seen such a mother? Overwhelmed with sorrow, the father stood in the courtroom, facing the individuals responsible for his daughter Anaya's death. His heartache was palpable as he shouted out loud. He detailed the repeated abuse his daughter suffered at her mother's hands.
I remember this.
He had fought tirelessly for custody.
This was a few years ago, I do believe. Only got one video. Yeah, this was, Anaya. Her mom and boyfriend, unalived her. And it's super sad because he wanted his baby. He really wanted his child. And that mother made it to where he couldn't have his baby. And it's not fair, you know? That's so sad. I remember that case, and now I wish I would have never even seen that, because it just made me cry. But it was super sad. Some of these cases, you guys, get very, very hard to do. I don't know if you guys understand when we talk about these things. I mean, it's not fun. It is very painful, especially knowing that I can't have babies and it's not fair. It sucks. It really does. And if I had the money to do IF, I would. But you know how much money that is? You gotta be rich to be able to do IF. Unless Trump gets in, and then I guess he's gonna accept it on insurance, and who knows, by then it's gonna be too late. But it sucks because you feel like you're not a woman, you know. So it's hard to do kids. It's hard to cover all these missing kids and missing people and missing teenagers is another one. You know, teenagers, the kids, it's all sickening to know that all these little kids go missing. Some are runaways. Some are going through so much shit that they want to run away, you know? Like, they don't have no other choice but to run away. But really they do have other choices, you know? A lot of kids who run away from broken homes don't know that they could get help. They could get options. They don't have to, you know, if, for instance, if a kid's being neglected and abused and, you know, like if it's, they don't have to run away. Like even the teenagers, like there's gotta be more programs out here to keep the kids off the streets, you know? Like we need to do something that keeps these kids off the streets. We need I'm thinking we need something like arcades, more free things, you know, that are supported by our taxes that we pay, you know? It just sucks because a lot of these kids are just stuck on the internet, you know? So that's what I wanted to bring you guys. I know we can use the Walmart worker issues warning to customers about using. Let's see what this says. I never use theirs. Walmart worker issues warnings to customers about using the bathrooms. Oh my God. As a Walmart worker, an urgent PSA for any customers who use public bathrooms. Oh shit. Walmart worker Devin's 601 Devin TikTok has received over 190,000 views. To start his video, Devin sits in his car in his Walmart uniform and he seems to just have gotten off a work shift. He adds on-screen caption that says his message to PSA to everyone. He's addressing as most people have probably used the public bathrooms before. Stop what you're doing and listen to this, Devin says. His notes and his messages will be more useful to people who use the woman's restroom. You're going to see why, he adds. Devin advises that viewers took inside the toilet paper dispenser before using public restroom. Here's the reason, he explains. He gestures towards the photo on screen and remarks, this right here is exactly what I'm talking about. What? It sounds like the toilet paper tube seems to be covered in small red splotchy marks near the center. These are caused by drug addicts using needles, he claims. What? This doesn't sound right. There's no pictures to this. He notes his message will be more useful for people who use the woman's restroom. You're going to see why, he adds. Dispenser, public restroom, here's the reasons. I don't see no photo. Those shoes are cute, that purse is cute, and both of them dresses are cute. But I don't see how. I don't understand what he's trying to say here. I don't understand what he's trying to say. Does anybody understand what this guy is trying to allure? That the toilet paper is used by druggies? I don't understand. I don't get it. I need to wipe my face off. I went to bed with my makeup on. Whoops. Not supposed to do that. Okay, so caused by drug addicts using needles, he claims. How does he know this? Devin explains that these red marks show up when individuals insert their needles into the paper to tidy them. You'll be able to tell right away. I don't know how to get these other... There's no pictures showing up. Let's see if we can find his TikTok. Okay. What the hell? I want to see this, don't you guys? I want to see the toilet paper roll. There's no pictures to it, so I don't understand. Huh. Cannot believe they're saying check the toilet paper at Walmart. That is bonkers. Alright, y'all. I'm going to try to find a video. And then I will post it, okay? If I can get his TikTok. But that's his TikTok, y'all. I cannot believe that. Your toilet paper's not even safe anymore. What the actual fuck? Alright, y'all. I'm heading out. I love you guys. Have a great day. Be safe and love another. Be kind to one another. I know we have a lot of shit on these streets. For example, let me show you. This makes me really mad, you guys. It makes me really mad. So if anybody goes here and types this in, this is sad. This is sad, sad, real realization that you got these clickbaiters, you got scammers, you got it's so crazy. This little boy has been has been drugged through the mud. And I mean, this little boy, his dignity, or what's left of his dignity, they keep doing it to him. It's sad when you go online and you type in his name. Look at this. All these people. Some might be doing the case good, and some of them are not doing the case good. See, look at this. I'm already not liking this guy because he's biased. He's saying the dad is lying. The stepdad is lying. And how do you know this?
Marcy Captor always works for working people, fighting for our job security, fair pay, and pensions.
Hold up, y'all. Let's get past this intro here.
Olivia or even his own wife. And when he would express emotion, it was the wrong one. He would laugh, he would smile, he would seem almost giddy on certain occasions. And like I said, Chris and Katie almost never look at each other throughout this entire conversation. But when they do, it's just on a few occasions when someone's answering a question. And it's weird because they answer a lot of questions without looking at each other. It's just these 3 specific times. Like in one case, while answering a question about the events of Sunday the 25th, before Sebastian disappeared, she paused, looked at Chris, and then says, we went and picked up our niece. Yeah, I got a call and asked if I could go and pick her up, and I did, and so we went and did that. Unfortunately, there wasn't much that I could compare the physical aspects of this interview to, because even when they had the ability to use video when calling into a show, they chose not to in most interviews. That said, there were still other videos of them, and while I had been under the impression that Olivia's interview on March 18th was the first one the Proudfoots had done, I was alerted to an earlier one by the Sebastian Rogers subreddit, one conducted by WSMV News on the 5th of March. Where the Proudfoots had largely appeared emotionless during their interviews with Nancy Grace and Chronicles of Olivia, in this one for the news, Katie at least looked much more the part of the scared mother that you would expect to see. Her voice trembles and she noticeably rocks back and forth as she speaks about the incident. And this is something that I then went back to look for in other videos. And I found that in the Nancy Grace interview, the angle that she's sitting at makes it a little too hard to tell if she's moving back and forth. But in terms of overall movement, Katie remains extremely still in that interview. Like, very still. In the Chronicles of Olivia one, however, I did catch a gentle yet perceptible rocking motion on a few occasions. But that WSMV news video is very heavily edited, and the Proudfoots are really only shown on screen for a little over a minute, so you can't get much from it. Now, I'm not a behavioral expert, and the most I can say is that I have gone and watched behavioral experts talk about these interviews, but I have not gone through enough analysis yet, so I'll get to those in the part 3 of this series. But what I will say is that it wasn't just the demeanor.
Oh God, this guy must be working with somebody. I mean, come on, this is gonna make me mad.
In addition to that somewhat strange demeanor displayed in these videos, some of the things that Katie said about the day before Sebastian disappeared struck me as odd, and in some cases, things were inconsistent between appearances. The first instance that caught my attention was the way in which Katie Proudfoot described the events of the morning before Sebastian went missing. And this was beginning around 58 seconds into that interview with Chronicles of Olivia. Katie tells Olivia, "We got up and, fun fact, I made breakfast that morning. We had a good time, we were laughing, we were joking, and he talked to the family on the phone during breakfast to brag." Aside from the choice of words being a little strange, it struck me as odd that she included that little detail about her making breakfast. If it were just her and Sebastian in the house, and at no point has she ever talked about Sebastian liking to cook, who else would have made breakfast that morning? Details such as this can be evidence of a fabrication, though not always, as somebody with a keen eye for detail is likely going to give those kinds of responses. Someone who gives a very specific detail amongst a sea of vague answers, however, should be viewed with a little bit of suspicion. The other strange part was her saying that Sebastian had called his family members to brag, as if that was just something kids normally do on a Sunday morning. And even if it were something that kids normally do on a Sunday morning, which in my experience it wasn't, what was he bragging about? And while that comment about bragging didn't appear in the WSMV or Nancy Grace interviews, it did appear in a March 17th interview hosted by a YouTube creator called Duchess and her panel. In that appearance, Katie said much the same thing that she had said to Olivia, telling the panel, "Sunday morning we got up and I made a fun breakfast for us. Spaghetti pancakes. Google it, y'all." Once again, just weird phrasing under the circumstances, and also who tells somebody to Google a recipe while talking about their missing son? I mean, at this point, Sebastian had been missing for a solid 3 weeks, and there were no leads.
Dumbass. Dum-dum. Yeah, dum-dum. She was talking about a weird spaghetti pancakes. What the frack? Like, I would have looked it up, too. She was, you know what? You people take and you guys criticize and critique these parents have a missing child, and you guys are... Why? Like, you simply took her words and totally twisted it. Because she knew when she said spaghetti pancakes, people were going to wonder, sir, I don't know who you are, but my community and a couple other communities will definitely be watching. I can. I was gonna sub up to you, but I don't think your community, I think you guys are all biased, and I think you're gonna, no. I mean, look at these comments, you guys. The stepdad. I'm super shocked that people act like this. On the internet. And this is fair use of the Act of 1976. Fair use allows me to critique, criticize, commentary, for research purposes, education purposes. Fair use involves here, it involves this. This is, in my opinion, this is all my opinion. I'm not sure if this guy is, I mean, where'd he come from? I've never seen this person before. But let me finish my comment. Okay, so, been dragged through the dirt and have been stalked by bull. I hate when it does that. Okay, now, let's listen a little bit more.
And she's talking about spaghetti pancakes and bragging about how she made breakfast. In any case, she continued saying, "We FaceTime family while we were eating so he could brag, because that's something he likes to do, and we were laughing and joking on FaceTime and having a good time." I do want to say, I understand that Sebastian is on the spectrum, and maybe this calling family to brag thing is something that he likes to do, but in multiple interviews, Chris Proudfoot said that his son was kind of struggled speaking to adults, even family members. But after this, she said, "We got a call to go and pick up our niece," which matches what she told Olivia in the interview that was released the day following this. I will admit that the phrasing here of who was being called, who was going to pick up the niece, whose niece it...
Okay, so, been dragged to the dirt, stalked by Burrhorn Betty. Let's see. This is crazy. I cannot believe that people have a vendetta. against them. I don't even want to listen to this man. He irks me. This man's already irking the soul out of me. Causing a lot of hell and shit that's uncalled for. And his grift. Okay, brought a lot of uncertain people into this case, which is true. In my opinion, Katie and Chris have been searching and doing things Let's listen to a little bit more.
And who all was actually there along for the ride that day did send me down a rabbit hole trying to figure out, if there were any inconsistencies here, but it ultimately led nowhere. At least not in relation to the niece. But as I sifted through more and more interviews, I came across further inconsistencies in the narrative given by the Proudfoots. One of these was with regard to what happened between 9 p.m. when Katie told Sebastian to go to bed and midnight when Katie herself went to bed. According to the first version of the story given by Katie in the interviews from March 3rd, 5th, and 17th, she sent Sebastian to bed at 9 p.m. and that was the end of it. Other interviews, however, add a detail. In the interview on the 18th, Katie said he was doing something in his room because about an hour later I heard some noise and I was like, I don't care what you're doing in there, but go to sleep. It's not proof of anything that this only appears on the 18th, but I do wonder why she would not include that detail in previous conversations. And that Chronicles of Olivia interview is much shorter and much less in-depth than either of the ones with Duchess. So I'm curious why it is that she gave 3 interviews not mentioning any hearing a sound at, 10 p.m., and then suddenly she remembers it. And in another interview on the 20th, this time with the YouTube creator Smiley Stories World, she reiterated that statement with only a minor change to the verbiage. Instead of go to sleep, it was you're supposed to go to sleep, which would be absolutely no problem if not for the interview with Nancy Grace 5 days later. You see, Nancy asked specifically about what Katie described to her as a thud heard around 10 p.m., saying, you said, look, I don't care what you're doing in there, go to bed, is that right? And this time, Katie said that her exact words were, Bubba, did you fall out of the bed? And he said, no ma'am. And I said, well, whatever you're doing in there, knock it off and go to sleep. While I'm not going to say that this is what happened, it does almost seem like the story told by the Proudfoots changes as public opinion shifts. Initially, he just went to bed around 9, but then we have this additional detail about a thud heard around 10 p.m. And the thing is, people did not react well in the chats and the comments section to the fact that after hearing this thud from her autistic son, Katie did not go check on the boy. So then they go on Crime Stories on the 25th, and this time it's not just that she heard a thud, and it's not just that she said, keep it quiet. It's also that she asked if he was okay first, and that he responded to her. So she wouldn't need to check on him because he was okay. I will say, in another interview, the excuse that she gave for not going to check on him at all that night is that he was a teenage boy and, you don't want to accidentally walk in on anything, as if knocking on a door is not an option. That said, in her defense, my little brother is on the spectrum in what appears to me to be at least a similar way to Sebastian, and I was asking my dad about it. He did tell me that if he heard a thud from Liam's room, he wasn't going to think anything of it. So like I said, it's possible that...
I can't do him anymore. This is his channel if you guys want to check him out. He does got a lot of subscribers, so he is a big channel. I'm probably going to have people come after me because I said what I said. But I said what I said and I meant it. Nobody should be bashing these parents. So, I'm going to share this guy out. I want this one. Alright, y'all. I love you.